on the news. The tree is lit, the creche is blessed, the peace of Christmas amid the hustle and bustle of Brooklyn.
In the middle of all this busyness, we're proclaiming the joy of Christmas.
Santa's Toy Shop is now open. Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens making sure children have gifts under their Christmas trees. A potential humanitarian crisis looming at the southern border. The Biden administration poised to lift Title 42. Plus this.
Words can hardly express what it's like sitting there watching somebody pass away in front of you.
What he can express in words, he can express in art. A grieving man's tribute to his late wife. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Just as it does every year, Grand Army Plaza has a colorful new addition. The Diocese of Brooklyn's Christmas tree is shining bright. The Norway spruce is decked out in thousands of lights, a natural companion to the brightest light of all right beside it, Jesus Christ in the nativity scene. I hosted the ceremony last night, and Currents News' Jessica Easthope was there to cover this Grand Army Christmas.
During the busiest time of the year, a reason to take a pause. The Diocese of Brooklyn Christmas tree, a 28-foot Norway spruce, illuminates Grand Army Plaza as it stands underneath the Sailors and Soldiers Memorial Arch, a faithful reminder of the meaning of Christmas.
People from all around Brooklyn can see what is the reason for our joy? Why are we so filled with hope?
Let's keep the prayers going through song.
The annual lighting ceremony, hosted by Currents News anchor Christine Persichetti, echoed the tree's theme of unity. Prayers said in English, Spanish, and Polish, and songs from different cultures drew in a crowd and proclaimed a message to the Diocese of Immigrants that we are one in our faith.
We all come from different ethnic groups, but we're one. We're one body, one spirit, one church.
Bishop Brennan said, though the tree in Grand Army Plaza is for many to see, the one in your own home is how you show your joy to the world.
This tree, this manger scene reminds us all to let people see why we find joy, what we believe, why we believe it, and how it makes a difference in our life.
Bishop Witold Mierzejewski said it's easy to forget those who are unable to celebrate the peace and joy of the holiday. For him, the prayer of unity is in part for the people of Ukraine.
The war affecting the people around the world, not only in Ukraine, but we pray for them and for the peace in that country.
Bishop Brennan blessed the nativity scene under the tree. He said the ultimate hope is that it transforms the heart and mind of just one person this Christmas season.
The most basic form of evangelization, I always say, the best thing for parents to be able to put out the Christmas scene and a simple nativity set, and children will ask questions.
The Diocese of Brooklyn tree will stand at Grand Army Plaza through the Christmas season until the Epiphany on January 6th. In Prospect Park, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Now that the Diocese tree is up, Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens is making sure there are gifts under it for kids in need, all thanks to their annual toy distribution. For the past 12 years, the charity has set up Santa's Toy Shop, providing goodies and gift cards to families in need. You could see at Thursday's giveaway at St. Vincent Ferrer Church in Brooklyn, parents were able to pick out gifts for kids of all ages. Catholic Charities estimates they will help some 2,000 families this year. It could be more than last year because so many are suffering with sky-high inflation. Bishop Brennan will be helping Catholic Charities hand out some of those presents next week. He'll be lending a hand at Santa's Toy Shop when it sets up in the gym at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Astoria on Thursday, December 22nd. The shop will be open from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Any parents who wish to attend will need to RSVP, and you can do so online at ccbq.org. Cathedral Prep celebrated their day of service by visiting Catholic Academy students at Our Lady of Sorrows in Corona, Queens, Wednesday. The high school students read the younger children some books and just spent some quality time with them. They also spoke to each classroom about the true meaning of Christmas. The older students said it's important to practice what they preach and gifted each student with a candy cane. Now to what officials are calling a threat to our nation, a TikTok threat, and Capitol Hill is getting involved. The U.S. Senate has passed a bill to bar federal employees from using the Chinese-owned app on government-owned devices. It will still need to go through the House of Representatives before seeking approval from President Biden. This comes as Republican Senator Marco Rubio unveiled Tuesday bipartisan legislation that would ban TikTok totally from the U.S. The FBI is involved too, and they're issuing a warning to TikTok users young and old. Stop scrolling. Sounding the alarm on TikTok, the FBI's director is joining a growing chorus cautioning the social media platform is a national security threat.
The Chinese government has shown a willingness to steal Americans' data on a scale that dwarfs any other.
While speaking at the University of Michigan, FBI Director Christopher Wray said the video sharing app, which is owned by Chinese company ByteDance, is collecting data from U.S. users for spying purposes and could gain access to your device through software. He also warns the Chinese government could manipulate content on the app with its recommendation algorithm.
All of these things are in the hands of a government that doesn't share our values.
The FCC commissioner called for a nationwide TikTok ban and earlier this year urged Apple and Google to remove it from their app stores. South Dakota's governor banned state employees from using the app on government devices. Experts recommend you think twice before downloading it on your phone.
You have a Chinese-owned app that has incredible AI. It's very, very addictive.
Political risk consultant Ian Brennan says the U.S. will likely take a more cautious approach and says he doesn't expect the U.S. government to suddenly ban TikTok nationally.
The U.S. wants to go after issues that are of direct national security concern to the United States, like advanced semiconductors used by the military-industrial complex in China.
Wray's latest comments come 1 month after he appeared before a House Homeland Security Committee hearing and warned that TikTok could be a serious threat to our national security. From some bad news to some good news for drivers getting ready to head home for the holidays, you could finally be getting some relief at the pump. Experts are projecting lower prices, and it comes at a good time as holiday travel is expected to return to pre-pandemic levels. Mike Valerio has the story.
The song says there's no place like home for the holidays, but that might not be true for everyone.
We are forecasting 113 million people are going to be traveling for this upcoming holiday period. About 101 million will go by car.
AAA is forecasting the third busiest year for holiday travel since the agency began tracking in 2000, topped only by 2018 and 2019. But spokesperson Andrew Gross says people are beginning to return to pre-pandemic level travel, which means crowds at the airports and traffic on the roads. Routes in major metro areas are expected to be especially congested both Fridays, leading into the Christmas and New Year's holiday weekends.
If you're driving, you have more flexibility because you can decide what time you're going to go.
And while soaring inflation means you may be paying more for holiday gifts, drivers are catching a break at the pump.
We expect that gasoline prices could be hovering right around the $3 a gallon level, way below even what we saw last year.
Gross notes the global price of oil, along with the less expensive winter blend of gas, is behind the steady decline in prices. But to get the most mileage out of that tank of gas and stay safe on the roads, AAA recommends having your vehicle serviced before your trip and plan for anything Mother Nature may have in store.
Make sure your fluids are topped, your tires are properly inflated. And also, if there's a big storm coming in and you're driving, you can, choose a different route.
Mike Valerio, Currents News.
There's a lot more news headed your way. With a surge of migrants expected to cross the border after Title 42 ends, New York Mayor Eric Adams is sounding the alarm and asking for money. She was recently honored by the Center for Migration Studies for her work as an attorney dedicated to helping asylum seekers in the U.S. My interview with Hiroko Kusuda and what she says is on the horizon. And a bit later, some students of Our Lady of Mercy are bringing tears to the eyes of their teacher. Their heartwarming lesson of giving still ahead. $1 billion. That's how much New York City Mayor Eric Adams wants the federal government to chip in to help the Big Apple's migrant crisis. Adams requested the money from FEMA after more than 30,000 migrants arrived in the city over the last several months. Nearly 21,000 of them are living in taxpayer-funded shelters. And those numbers could multiply when that pandemic-related rule, Title 42, is lifted next week. That policy allowed the government to turn away migrants at the southern border because of COVID-19. The public health rule is now set to expire on December 21st. So border towns are bracing for an increase of migrants in a matter of days, worried that another humanitarian crisis is about to unfold.
Where they're going to have more apprehensions, and so we're going to see a lot more releases into the community, and we're not prepared for it.
The increase in migration is already evident. Just over the weekend, more than 2,400 migrants illegally crossed into the U.S. in El Paso, Texas, each day. Let's turn now to someone who has spent her career working directly with immigrants and recently received the Catholic Migration Services Humanitarian Service Award in the Diocese of Brooklyn. Hiroko Kusuda, professor at Loyola University New Orleans College of Law, joins us now. Hi, Hiroko.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. And first, I just want you to tell us your story. I know you live in Louisiana, but I understand you used to drive hundreds of miles to detention centers where migrants were held. Tell us what that was like.
Detention centers and parish jails were not located in the central part of each city, so we had to go different back roads, so to speak. And one day, sometime I had to go to 3 or 4 different jails to visit detainees, and depending on the jail's schedule and the detainees' availability. Yeah.
Wow, they didn't make it easy for you. Talk about the state of migration today. How has it changed in the years you've been helping newcomers?
So when I started working for Catholic Legal Immigration Network, majority of my clientele came from Africa, actually, because the New Orleans is a port city, and we had a lot of stowaways coming from African continent. So they are pretty much English speaking. They were very well versed in immigration law, very high level of understanding of the state of case law that controls their jurisdictions. After Hurricane Katrina and Rita hit Louisiana, and also 9/11 happened. I think the stowaway stopped coming, and many immigrants arrived from Central America, Latin America, and other parts of the country. The majority Hispanic population started arriving in Louisiana. Therefore, our clientele changed overnight. Now, almost 90% of my clients come from Central America and Latin America. So Spanish is a must language.
Sure, and now that Title 42 is about to be lifted, the Biden administration is warning a potential influx of migrants at the southern border. How will this affect what some have already been calling a migrant crisis?
I was speaking to my colleague yesterday who were in El Paso, and I understand that they were looking at like 7,500 people arrived to the city, and they're swamped, and it looks like the population arriving from Ecuador, Peru, and Nicaragua. And those are the most recent information that I received from the people at the border. I think each locality has its own resource issues, but I think in the long run, we need to do something more systemic, I think. In New Orleans, we only have 2 nonprofit organizations that represent immigrants at low cost and no cost. And my clinic is one of the 2, and it's really difficult to provide representation to everybody.
Wow. And now there's been calls for this. Do you think President Biden should go to the border?
I think it's a good idea to revisit maybe the aftermath of cessation of 42 and talk to the people on the ground who are actually helping arriving immigrants.
Okay, Hiroko Kasuda, thank you so much for being here, professor at Loyola University New Orleans College of Law. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much, Christine.
The president has faced criticism from both parties for not making any public appearances at the southern border since taking office. Earlier this month, when questioned about why he hasn't visited a border state, he replied, "There are more important things going on." The vice president, however, has made an official visit to El Paso, Texas. Turning now to the tablet's Bright Christmas campaign. Students at Our Lady of Mercy Catholic Academy donating anything they can, spare change or leftover lunch money, to help other kids get gifts under the tree this Christmas. Once again, here's Currents News' Jessica Easthope with more on their heartwarming mission of giving.
This story is about a $10 bill and a paper trail that starts here and ends on Christmas morning underneath a tree. The bill was brought to school at Our Lady of Mercy Catholic Academy by 6-year-old Samuel Ortiz Brand. It's his very own to spend.
We'll give them money and they can buy the toys because it makes the kid happy and then they can have a good Christmas also.
Donations in the box, guys. Let's go.
Samuel's first grade class is raising money for the tablet's Bright Christmas campaign. Last year, he opened plenty of toys under his own tree, and this year's wish list is pretty long.
A Mario car, a real dog, a real cat, 5 cats, on a whale set. Yeah, that's everything.
But he knows there are kids who have a lot less than he does. He wants his bill to be spent buying toys for them.
They didn't have toys, and God didn't have the chance to give them money, so we're gonna give them money.
Samuel made sure his bill was tucked in tight, among others like it, and some change in the donation box on his teacher, Mrs. Ray's desk.
When I explained to them that there are some children that, believe it or not, wake up on Christmas with nothing, they were shocked, and they wanted to help. Are we done here?
The students wrote letters to the tablet to make sure their money was spent
Dollhouses and balloons.
exactly the way they want. It's a hope that's as real as Christmas magic, the kind the tablet makes possible every year.
I can't explain. To see them so excited, what can I say? It's a beautiful thing.
Not only do these students have a wish for their money this Christmas, they have one for yours too. In Forest Hills, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
I just love that story. And these are some of the letters that the kids wrote to the tablet. This one reads, "For our Advent service project, we wanted to help kids in need this Christmas. What better way to celebrate the birth of Jesus? Therefore, we are collecting spare change and donating it to the Bright Christmas Fund. Last year, I got Play-Doh, and I wish the kids get Play-Doh too. Merry Christmas." That's from Regan. And not only did they write letters, they drew little pictures on each letter. So not only are they generous, but they're really talented too. So are you feeling inspired? You too can donate to the tablet's Bright Christmas Fund, and they could really use your help. The paper is now more than halfway through their goal, passing more than $68,000 for kids in need. But they are still a ways away from their goal of $125,000 before December 25th. The need is so great this year because of inflation. Here's the information you need to get involved. Make a check out to the Bright Christmas Fund and mail it to Bright Christmas, LB number 2118, P.O. Box 95,000. That's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the zip code 19195. Or you can make your donation online at thetablet.org/brightchristmas. Still to come on Currents News, face front true believers. A new holy hero graces the world of comics. What you can expect from the Soul Finder. His stained glass creations are windows to his heart. More on a special project that's helping him grieve and heal after the death of his wife. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. He could be the first millennial saint, but first, let me introduce you to Carlo the comic. Digital disciple Carlo Acutis and the Eucharist is out now, telling the story of the real-life teen who used his knowledge of computers and technology to document the world's Eucharistic miracles online. The tech whiz teen died in 2006 from leukemia. He was beatified in 2020, making him one step closer to sainthood. So are you a comic collector? Don't miss this one. It might be a good Christmas gift. You can buy it online at shop.voyagecomics.com. Just search for the issue, and once again, it's called Digital Disciple Carlo Acutis and the Eucharist. It'll cost you just $6.99. Now to a story about a gift money can't buy. A man in Colorado created a work of art in memory of his late wife. This Christmas will be the first he'll celebrate without her. He's a stained glass artist who used his passion to ease his pain.
Some of these cuts are deeper cuts, so I'm not going to try and break them out.
The bond between passion and pain can be found scored in glass.
This one's going to be quite a challenge.
Jay Gruters is a stained glass artist.
Had sort of a knack for it and just started doing it.
He's also a grieving husband.
We had a really good life together. She was a wonderful person. She was very outgoing and kind of person that connected with everybody.
Jay and Fran Gruters were together for decades. Hiking was her passion.
And she's actually hiked all the trails in the park.
Stained glass.
I look at these now and think, how did I ever do these?
Was his.
I'm amazed by it, really.
Jay made windows for churches all around this area. He created his art for nearly 50 years.
A lot of people are quite touched by the glass.
Until he had to stop. Fran was diagnosed with ALS, causing her to lose functions of all her muscles. Jay's passion became caring for his wife.
It gets to where it's hard to walk, hard to swallow. Had to put a feeding tube in her stomach.
In May, she was called to be with God.
Words can hardly express what it's like sitting there watching somebody pass away in front of you. You know you're never going to see him again.
What he can't express in words, he can express in art.
I usually do my own designs, but this was something special.
Jay is making something special, a card he gave Fran.
And it says, all my love to Fran. Happy Valentine's Day and birthday. Love, Jay.
She gave it back to him the next year, and they passed it back and forth every February 14th.
Probably 20 years or more.
And now he's giving it back to her one final time.
This is the one that sort of in memory of her. I've always wanted to do it, and I thought, well, I think I'll try it and see.
A work of love that's more important to Jay than 50 years of work combined.
The others are a lot of fun and mean different things, but this one has a lot of special meaning to it. Oh, she'd love it. She knows I wanted to do it.
Passion, healing pain.
So this is sort of a memorial to her.
Through the bonds of panes of glass.
She'd probably just cry with happiness.
And now Jay's art is making others happy. He displayed it outside of the room he shared with his wife at an assisted living facility. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.